There is a bull thistle. This is a plant that I go after. I just, it's pretty in its own way. It gets a beautiful flower, but it's not at all human friendly. And here is quite a stand of burdock. I don't go after, well, I've already discussed burdock. I decided to let it go this year. In most places. Right here it's over, I think there's some groundhog holes underneath here and some piles of logs. I can cut it anytime. That's a violet. I've been seeing other ones, and you see that's on the pig side of the fence, and they won't eat it. Even when it was younger and in flower early, that's one plant they just left alone. This, I believe, is water hemlock. I'm going along in that thick patch just below the canal, and so this ground is really wet. If I'm right about that, it seems funny to see it up here in the field, but it's the poison hemlock that Socrates, Plato, had to drink. Here's some timothy. It's a kind of grass, a kind of hay. You can remember it because the top of it looks kind of like a pencil. I'm back in the woods. I was here yesterday. That's the grape. This is a plant I went right by and didn't film. And it has to be wet where it grows. You know, I want to call it a cardinal flower because it grows in the same kind of places where you'd see a cardinal flower. Haven't seen one yet this year, but I'm not sure. The way the leaf goes around the stem should be a giveaway. Another thing about this, let me just experiment with flipping the button and see if that makes it focus any better. I'm not sure which way it's supposed to go. There's a button up there. But there's something called parallel venation going on here. Within the leaves, do you see the veins are all parallel? Now contrast that, here's the same. Contrast that with the venation on that grape leaf, completely different. And I think that suggests it's a lily of some kind. And I used to call cardinal flower cardinal lily, so you can see where I'm getting the confusion. There's a tree I went right under yesterday coming up through here filming without even commenting on it. That is you can tell by the leaf right away, that's a tulip tree or a tulip poplar. No, it doesn't grow tulips, but the fruit, which you'd have to, one of the things you don't see it from the ground, but when it drops its fruit, you can see it around the ground. I don't see any left over from last year here, but the fruit, the flower does look remote, or the fruit maybe, does look remotely like a tulip. Tulip poplar, also sometimes called yellow poplar. There's a little tree I can't readily name. Possibly basswood. Not sure. This could serve as a little bit of a test question. What's that tree? I'll show you how it should be given. I should give it away if you take a look at that leaf as opposed to that leaf. And I don't see any of the catcher's mitt kind yet on it. It's a sassafras. Oh, there's another one, and there's a catcher's mitt kind of leaf on that. This is a hickory, but I've begun to think that I know there's two kinds of hickories here, but I think the ones in the field that I'm calling hickory, if they are a different kind. See, that's serrated. The edges on those leaves are serrated, and this looks like a hickory too, but the edges are not serrated. There's shagbark and shellbark hickory, but I haven't studied this in a long, long time. That little trickle of water is enough. If I could get it onto the field out there, that would irrigate my whole field. Running all night like that, and in the daytime too. And that's just one of the two creeks that come together. We're at that confluence. I think I'm going to call this the confluential dam, sort of like influential. Oh, that's going to be a fun job, but I don't know when I can get to it. Maybe today. This is below the confluence, below the confluential dam. But here's another opportunity, sort of a natural opportunity to put a prise d'eau. In other words, if I would enhance that sort of natural blockage, I could probably get that water by gravity to, I don't know if I get it up over that bank, but I could get it up over the bank down there. Probably have to use a pipe because of that steepness of that bank. I'm just not sure, but it's another opportunity. It's one of the things I look for. Where would be a good weir or prise d'eau, and where would be a good place to actually get above, away from the water source. And the pigs have found that. I mean, you can see they've been using that. Yesterday when I was coming through here, I didn't want to stop. I was tempted to stop to show you this. Here the pigs have been at work as archaeologists. Now I knew this was here. This is, I think, a cartway, because we're right beside the mine face that they were digging the iron ore off of. And this is what the pigs do. You know, they clean stuff up, look for stuff, leave stuff behind. They leave the rocks behind. And all through here, this is exactly what I hoped that they would do. They've been cleaning this up so I can get to it. This is an old fence that I've got to gather up. This was just a devil of a place to fence because of the way it was. And here I'm under a lovely hemlock. The creek's muddy because I just stepped in it, but this is a spot that probably 40 years ago, 35 at least, I started, well, I had it for a while, a prise d'eau. I called it Charles Dam, after my wife's father, my father-in-law, Charles. I named all the dams after guys and the waterfalls after women, because I thought the waterfalls were prettier and women are too. Anyway, I diverted the water. And it stays there. It's been 35 years and still it's been through many floods and all that. I plan to fix it up again because it's one of those places that I had at that time figured out that I could get the water out there onto my fields, pastures, and or garden. And if any of you are thinking, gee, yeah, but what, you can't take the water away from the creek, that's no good. Actually, it doesn't happen that way. They leak. I don't take all the water away. And in any case, what goes out into the garden or the pasture or the field soaks into the ground and continues on its way down. It just slows it all up. That, what looks like a creek, some of you probably wish I'd say creek, is not. I mean, it's the drain for the workers, so they wouldn't be standing in water when they were working that mine face. Here's the principal run, the natural drain. That's the one we've been following, and so right at the point I'm standing at, it's where this drain, they brought it into the natural drain. These logs, they make for bridges. I've seen my goats go across them. This I didn't film yesterday. And it's a shrub, I'm quite sure. And I think in this case, what Mama always used to say, some kind of viburnum, I think that's probably the case. Let me try flipping this switch again. I don't know if that gets better or worse. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really tell. Here's a close-up of that second kind of fern. It's not as common. It's real wet down here and real shady. Maybe that's why it's here. Now I'm going right up alongside the road. The road's right on the other side of this hedge. And that is the only place, well, no, it might be somewhere else in the farm. I think a lot of you are going to recognize that. I think it's bittersweet, maybe. It's an ornamental shrub used a lot, and it would make sense that it somehow could have got introduced from the road. Finally, I guess, for today, there's that stuff that I call horse stock. I have very little idea if that's what it is. Boy, prolific in seeds though, isn't it?